Good afternoon. My name is Larry Rankin. This is EDOL 707, assignment 1.3, the Lead from the Heart video response. In this video, the focus is on how my organization argues against the case for leading from the heart. I currently work for the California Military Department. As a military organization, there is often very little thought to the leadership methods presented by this book, Lead from the Heart. Two of the arguments directly against this premise are, number one, hiring individuals with heart, and two, ensuring that the leaders are able to connect on a personal level with their subordinates and peers. For the first argument, the idea of hiring individuals with heart is never a primary priority within the military organizations. While it does serve to often enforce many of the other values within the military, the idea of having heart itself is not an initial concern, as building heart is something that can be done through specific trainings and resiliency within the organization at a later time. The larger focus is placed on individual abilities to perform their required tasks in order to achieve mission success. The second argument against leading from the heart is the idea of connecting on a personal level, establishing deep personal connections, and specifically looking at the use of vulnerabilities within a leadership role. In the military, very specifically, many leaders and often officers, senior non-commissioned officers, they're not encouraged to show weakness or vulnerabilities of any kind. And to do so would actually weaken the ability of them to perform as leaders with their subordinates. With many of these leaders, the potential is extremely high that many of their missions will require sending their subordinates into an operational environment in which the stakes are life and death. So they are of the highest level. There can be no room for any doubt or any lack of confidence within the leadership structure. Personal connectedness often occurs through an instilled sense of the confidence and trust that the leadership is in fact not vulnerable and therefore more competent, and the subordinates have trust in that leadership when they are sent into potentially dangerous situations. Now, though those are the arguments for the organization, they are not my personal arguments as a leader, and from my personal leadership perspective, this is not always the case. I do not fully subscribe to these aforementioned arguments because it is, in my opinion, through embracing some of these concepts that I actually hope to push the transformational change project forward, within the organization itself. Two specific ways that I believe are necessary to achieve the success of my transformational change project are, number one, ensuring that I garner the required political support from my senior leadership in order to push this change initiative forward. The way that I would be able to do that is through building deep connectedness and relationships and building the trust with those senior leadership personnel, as well as expressing gratitude and encouraging my peers and subordinates to do the same. These strategies will not only require the development of deep personal connections, but through gaining the specific trust that's required from the senior leadership, it is my hope and my desire that garnering that trust and developing that connectedness with them will help give me the required firepower and not only spark the change, but continue to ensure that once it is sparked, that this flame of change continues to be fanned and supported throughout the months and years to come. A change of this magnitude that I look to instill in the organization is not something that can happen overnight. It is something that's going to require continued support, continued policy change, and implementation to ensure that the lower levels of leadership not only get the intent of the senior leadership, but they are able to continue pushing it forward so that it doesn't die prematurely. This concludes my video, my Lead from the Heart response. Thank you for your time.